145 billion pesos. That's how much money was allocated for flood control in the Philippines. But here's the shocking part. A huge chunk of it literally vanished into thin air.
And we're not just talking about mismanagement here. We're looking at what could be one of the biggest corruption scandals in recent Philippine history.
Today, we're diving deep into this massive flood control corruption scandal that's rocking the Philippines. By the end of this episode, you'll understand how billions disappeared and why communities are quite literally drowning in corruption.
You know what's really mind-blowing? About 1/5 of that entire budget, we're talking about 100 billion pesos, went to just 15 contractors.
Wait, seriously? Just 15 contractors got that much?
Yeah, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. Take Wawa Builders, for example. They got 85 projects in Bulacan alone, worth about 5.97 billion pesos.
And let me guess, these weren't exactly high-quality projects?
Far from it. The DPWH secretary himself, Manuel Bonoan, had to admit in a Senate hearing that some of these projects don't even exist.
Hold up, they don't exist? Like, at all?
Nope. We're talking about what they call ghost projects. They exist on paper, money was paid, but there's nothing actually built.
That's just incredible. And not in a good way.
And here's where it gets really interesting. President Marcos actually went to inspect one of these sites in Baliwag, Bulacan. You know what he found?
What did he find?
A completely empty lot. This was supposed to be a 55 million peso riverwall project that was marked as completed.
But how does something like this even happen? Like, how do you just lose track of 55 million pesos?
Well, Senator Lacson exposed this whole system they've got going. They even have special terms for different types of kickbacks.
Special terms? Like what?
They call them things like distinct receta and passing through parking fee. It's basically their code for different ways to siphon off the money.
It sounds like they've turned corruption into some kind of science.
Exactly. And get this, according to Senator Tulfo, only about 40% of the project funds actually go to construction.
Only 40%? Where does the rest go?
It gets divided up among various officials and contractors. You've got 8 to 10% for DPWH officials, 6% for district engineers, 5 to 6% for the Bids and Awards Committee.
So they've basically got it down to a formula.
Yeah, and here's what makes it even worse. This has been going on for years. Senator Lacson estimates that over the last 15 years, about 1.9 trillion pesos have been misappropriated.
That's just staggering. But what's being done about it now?
Well, there's actually quite a lot happening. The government's launched this massive investigation on multiple fronts.
Multiple fronts?
Yeah, you've got the Commission on Audit doing a fraud audit, the Bureau of Internal Revenue checking tax compliance, and the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee conducting hearings.
And I heard they've also launched some kind of online platform?
Right, the Sambong sa Pangulo portal. It's pretty innovative, actually. It lets citizens report irregularities directly.
Has it been effective?
In just the first 3 days, they received over 1,100 citizen complaints.
Wow, that's a lot of complaints.
And it's not just about the money. These ghost projects have real consequences for people's lives.
What kind of consequences are we talking about?
Well, when flood control projects don't exist or are substandard, communities remain vulnerable to flooding. Lives and properties are lost because the infrastructure that should protect them isn't there.
So it's not just corruption, it's literally putting people's lives at risk.
Exactly. And you know what's interesting? This whole scandal has rekindled calls for an anti-political dynasty law.
Really? What's the connection there?
Well, according to Senator Hontiveros, political dynasties don't just dominate politics, they extend their reach into government contracts, including these flood control projects.
So it's like this whole interconnected web of power and money?
Precisely. And studies show that procurement-related corruption is most common in areas where political dynasties are strongest.
But what about the contractors themselves? Are they cooperating with the investigation?
Not really. Out of the 15 major contractors identified, only 7 showed up for the Senate hearing.
Less than half? That doesn't look good.
No, it doesn't. The Senate had to issue subpoenas to compel the others to appear.
And what's being done to protect whistleblowers? I imagine people might be hesitant to come forward.
That's actually a big concern. There are calls for the Department of Justice to extend whistleblower protections to anyone willing to expose the truth.
Makes sense. You'd need that kind of protection to get people to speak up about something this big.
And some are speaking up. A lawyer recently came forward about a 5 billion peso ghost project in central Luzon.
5 billion? That's massive.
Yeah, And according to the information provided, the contractor could receive up to 40% of that amount.
That's 2 billion pesos just gone.
And remember, this is just one project we're talking about.
It really makes you wonder how many more are out there.
Well, the Federation of Philippine Industries has proposed a 4-point action plan to address these issues.
What does that involve?
They're calling for greater accountability and transparency, higher technical standards, strict monitoring and enforcement, and compliance with Philippine national standards.
Those sound like solid recommendations.
They are, but implementing them will be the real challenge. As their chairman said, when flood control is compromised by corruption, it's not just concrete that cracks, it's public trust.
That's a powerful way to put it.
And it really gets to the heart of the matter. This isn't just about money, it's about trust, safety, and people's lives.
So what happens next?
Well, President Marcos has warned that the most serious cases could amount to economic sabotage. The investigations are ongoing, and there are calls for systemic reform.
It sounds like this could be a turning point.
It could be, if the momentum for reform isn't lost. The real test will be whether this leads to lasting changes in how these projects are managed and monitored.
Well, with 1,100 complaints in just 3 days, it seems like the public is ready for that change.
The question is whether the system is ready too.
And that's really what it comes down to, whether this moment of crisis can become a catalyst for real reform.